Okay, I decided to make this revisit completely unprepared and did only one take. So just to keep things a little bit more fresh for you and me, and yeah, why not? It's the summer, we should have more fun and so on. Why not with tech as well? So today, Lenovo P2. And it is about the question if it still is the one phone that I can so easily recommend, because after all I titled my review something kind of like, I think it was my favorite smartphone of 2016. But is it also kind of still my favorite in 2017? That's something that I'm going to answer you a little bit later. And before you ask yourself, should I go for this or maybe like something like the Moto Z Play or also Xiaomi Redmi Note 4, then I can already tell you I have the perfect comparison for that coming up later this week. So I would say let's just get into the P2 and check what I think about it. And I will go through my pros and cons like I always do in the revisit. So the first things that I talked about as the pros were very good build quality, relatively compact. And yes, it is, because it still feels very super solid, and it's especially the relatively compact thing that I want to talk about, because don't forget this has a 5100 milliamp hour battery. Now comparing this to the Nubia M2 that has a 3500 milliamp hour battery, or it's 3630, you can see it's almost not thicker. And that is surprising because it's almost not bigger in general. And due to the ever so slight little curves towards the sides, I have to just say, whenever I have this device in my hand, I'm surprised how easy it is to work it in one hand. And it just feels great, the buttons are placed well, and everything feels just so right. And this phone, if I wouldn't know the price or so, I would easily say like $500, because why not? The build quality is on point, it's very smoothed off everywhere, the design is just so right. And then my next thing, my favorite fingerprint reader so far. Okay, that was like a year ago, it's not anymore something like the Huawei P10 just came in, but still, the great thing is you can press the button, but just for unlocking you don't have to, and it still is so fast. The screen turns on quite nicely fast, and it is super reliable. So even though it's maybe not my favorite anymore, it's still super high up and top and beats pretty much even most flagships. The next thing, really good display. Nothing has changed here, and I'm actually not quite sure why I called it just really good, because I think I should actually call it maybe even a very good, because the really good is something I will call the Nubia M2, because here we get, yeah, maybe just 1080p for an AMOLED display, but this doesn't change the fact that it is still sharp enough to deliver you a really nice experience. And even though we maybe don't have many features to change the display's calibration, like for example color mode only allows normal and vibrant, it is on point. The viewing angle great. It's maybe not the very brightest one or something like that, but actually for an AMOLED display very nicely balanced in terms of saturation. So a little bit more than natural, but still not far off like Samsung device and so on. So I still enjoy this display, and still the speaker, because the speaker is still surprisingly loud. Yes, at the higher end maybe it starts to distort just a little bit and sounds a little bit hollow, but still very loud, and the overall experience is absolutely nice. Also, what I said is almost flagship performance, and yeah, nothing has really changed, because if I, for example, check here the browser, this one still, since it is so well optimized, runs just as. And just for example, I just have a Snapdragon 626 phone that should on paper be better, but no, it's actually not, because this one still performs absolutely nice, buttery smooth. Yes, some minor, maybe micro stutters are visible, but it is nothing that anyone should even bother about. I'm still in the opinion that this is good enough for everyone. Of course, some people want more, and they will get more on flagships, because after all they feel even lighter and even smoother and even maybe more capable in terms of multitasking and so on, but I don't really see a big difference. But you just pay so much less money with this one compared to all the flagships, and even gaming is absolutely fine. Now the next thing that I said is Insanity Pro plus battery life, and that is still the case. What I still get is around like maybe 10-11 hours over the course of 2 days in mixed use, which is absolutely impressive. But actually one thing that sounds maybe, for me at least, even more so impressive is the stats that my brother got, because I recommended this phone to my brother. He has it for I think like 2 months or so, and what he pulls off, because he's not a heavy user, last time I checked he had it for 2 weeks, so straight 14 days on one charge. He maybe didn't use the screen on time so much, because like I said, he's a lighter user. He had like little less than 2 hours of screen on time, but he still had 17% battery left, and that is amazing, because which phone these days can still do this? I actually don't know at all. The next thing, great software and also enhancements. I'm not going into that because I did that already in the review, but of course one thing that I have to mention now, it has the Nougat update. It also fixed a few things that I will talk about later on the cons part, like for example the audio sync issue in YouTube. But other than that, I still like the additions because you have the option to enable, and let me just quickly show that enable the on-screen buttons, but if you don't want to, you can just use the button, which is great because if you tap it, it's back, if you press it, it's home, and if you long press it, which is not my favorite situation, is for the recent apps, but that is a little bit just a too long experience. But I still definitely like this approach, and the only brand that does this better is Motorola, I would say, with the swipe gestures to the left and right. Feels even more so natural, but still, software, really, really nice. The next thing, smart use of the home button, I've talked about that, and the value. Because back when I reviewed it, it was like, I think 350. Now it's down to 270. So value improved even more so, and the phone got even better with the newer software updates. Win-win, I would say, but what is not all that great? Okay, let's check what I said. Slightly heavy after all. Not a huge issue. If you want a phone with that battery life, you can definitely live with that because it's actually not even bad. If I compare with something tad lighter, nah, doesn't make or break or difference. Slightly wiggly buttons. Actually, something I maybe wouldn't have even mentioned because many buttons wiggle like this. This is not a lot, so maybe actually forget it. No super high-res display. I didn't care back then, that's why it was in brackets, and I still don't care about it now. Then YouTube audio sync bug. Like I said, that was fixed. No Moto Z Play headphone jack. Like I said, it's just not as good on the Moto Z Play, but I will cover that also in my comparison. The next thing, speaker slightly distorts the maximum volume. I've talked already about that. So it does distort just a little bit on like kind of lower audio quality videos and so on, but just turn down a notch and you're still loud enough and it still sounds good. Then theme engine UI changes limited. So the theming engine maybe doesn't change much. And one thing that I actually am a little bit sad to see is that one thing actually got away, because on Marshmallow we still had the option to actually choose the recent apps if it works like on Android, which is what I mean here. So if you long press, you have this, but you also had the kind of more iOS style to the sides. It was a nice feature that we still had that, so not anymore here. Then disappointing camera. I guess this is still the biggest drawback for a lot of people who don't buy this phone, because the quality is just not great, and I'm not quite sure if it has improved with a few updates, because I didn't really notice a huge difference. I would maybe have to check it more elaborate from the old software, which I don't have anymore, but still, I will say the same as on last time. This phone is not a phone you will buy for the camera. It is a phone that has overall, especially for the price and the really surprising qualities throughout, a top-notch experience with that Insanity Pro Plus battery life. But then it still has a camera that it shoots. It shoots, it has to do. But from all the comments that I got on my review, everyone said, yeah, I can live with the compromise of maybe not having a great camera, maybe just a good one, decent one. And some people actually, like I did also in my comparison video with Open Camera, another camera app, and the stock one, that one got better. So if you want slightly better pics, you can even achieve that. And they also said that they are fine with the camera, but therefore they have like a 2, 3, like in my brother's case, a 14-day battery life. They have this super nice display, absolutely top-notch quality, and everything else is great. And I don't see any deal breaker, because if I check my old list, slightly heavy after all, not at all. Slightly wiggly buttons, not at all. The display, no. The audio sync bug is not anymore there. The headphone jack, definitely also not. Speaker side distorts, not an issue. Theme UI engine limited, no. And the disappointing camera. So if, then the only thing that could maybe still steal you away from buying it is the camera. But if the camera is not important for you, but all the other pros are, you will get such an amazing experience. And that's also the reason why I recommended it to my brother. I know he's not a heavy user, he's more an average guy who actually uses his phone less than many. But he is super happy with that, and to actually top that, I recommended it to a colleague at work, and he has it as well. He uses his phone more, and even he says he can get away with 3 or 4 days with a battery life with normal use, and he's super happy with it. And he said that he's so happy that I recommended it to him, and he actually thinks about even buying one for his son. So I guess that speaks maybe more so about the phone than my recommendation, because after all, it's so nice to see the feedback of people who have bought something because of you and they are super happy with that. So in case you've maybe bought it because of me, let me know that in the comments, and let me know how happy you are. Actually, I already got that quite often from the comments, but I guess this still shows that this is an amazing phone. Now, if you're still considering to go for the maybe Moto Z Play or the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4, or want to know a little bit more specifics, which one could be maybe even the more fitting device for you, maybe because of the camera or something like that, then watch out for the comparison. Maybe subscribe to the channel, and if you did like this video, thumbs up, and also, yeah, leave comments down there below and a like. Bye. I have to actually say, for completely raw balling this without any preparation, this went fine. Okay, bye.